forth with fact checkers, some independent researchers who have attempted to debunk the findings of Spanish researchers called La Quinta Columna, originally broken here on the Stu Peters Show by Dr. Jane Ruby. That video revealing that graphene oxide, a toxic substance, a poison, was found in the Pfizer vaccines. Those researchers later found that the same applied to Moderna, and AstraZeneca is now being tested as a result of our reporting. The truth is here. USA Today lead stories, all funded by the cabal, were all over me, all over Dr. Jane Ruby, and out calling us liars for reporting those findings to the world in a video that has now soared over, well, I think about 1 million views on Rumble. We have sought the input of many medical experts, world-renowned doctors, Dr. Jane Ruby, Dr. Tenpenny, Dr. Judy Mikovits, Dr. David Martin. They have all confirmed that report. But despite all of that confirmation, the assaults on our truth continue. On Twitter, you may have been recently following the hashtag Pfizer leak. We want to know what's in them. We want to know if it was pre-planned, who's behind all of it. We want to know what to believe, so today we're going to get the confirmation that we need. It's hard to fact-check documents. It's hard to fact-check publicly discoverable proprietary ingredients. It's hard to fact-check Karen Kingston. She is a former Pfizer employee, currently an analyst for the pharmaceutical and medical device industries. Karen, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your bravery. We admire your desire to expose the truth behind what appears to be, to me at least, one of the most, if not the most evil agenda mankind has ever been subject to.
Well, thank you for giving me a platform to share my findings and to spread the truth. And you're right, it is extremely difficult to find this information and link it together. I do have a unique set of skills. This is what I do in the industry. I analyze intellectual property, the legal landscape for both physicians, pharma, and consumers. And then I'm also a scientific writer and do the clinical analysis as well. So you can't expect everyone to have that skill set to find this information. Right. And the truth is, the whole do your own research was born out of the reality that the mainstream media has been lying to us, and big tech and social media have been blocking the truth, and that's why people have had to do their own research, and that violates our First Amendment. Yeah.
So just lay it out there. Is graphene oxide in these shots?
100% it is, and it's irrefutable, and I'll walk you through it. So what's really important to know is that all of the mRNA vaccines contain what's called a pegylated lipid nanoparticle. And that's what we're going to go through. So if you take a look at the Moderna patent, it says right there that this contains a lipid nanoparticle formulation. And as you go through the patent, which I'll show you, they specifically talk about various ingredients and various pegylated formulations that have alphanumeric codes. And then you can also find them in the filings with the FDA, with the IND and phase 3 trials for both Moderna and Pfizer. And you can also find them, across the pond with the UK filings. I hope that's making sense so far.
Yeah, so far.
So here's the important thing about the patent. I read the patent. It's 193 pages plus attachments. And I read the patent to look for graphene oxide. It is not listed in the patent because it is a trade secret. So you remember Bill Gates saying that there was a trade secret? Yes. Trade secrets are not, purview to the public. So they cannot be in the patent. So graphene oxide is not listed in the patent, and it lists everything but that. But I'm still going to show you evidence that these contain graphene oxide, and the patent in China that shows they contain graphene oxide.
So let me just ask you, why would they put every other ingredient on the patent with the exception of the standalone graphene oxide? Why would they not put that on there?
Then I would say the number one reason is because it's poisonous to humans, and well known that it's poisonous to humans.
Okay.
All right. And the other reason is because it is the main ingredient in hydrogel, which is the liquid, AI template that's used for some of Elon Musk's, research and Bill Gates, as far as that creating an interface between humans and, the internet.
So there is a legitimate theory that these shots are actually designed to create some sort of connectivity between humans, 5G, whatever this is, controlling your thoughts, your memories, all of these things. I mean, those are realistic and plausible possibilities.
That's not possible with this round. They rushed this thing out. They're just seeing, how much they can put into people before they die, I think, honestly.
So this is a dose-finding study, basically a live dose-finding study, and those that are dying or multiple sclerosis, Guillain-Barré, these tremors, the magnetism, all these things.
Well, remember, we're supposed to get boosters every 6 months. So we're going to get graphene oxide boosters every 6 months to see how much we can build up in the system. We'll go through this because when you see the nations that are being injected, we're the guinea pigs, and so once they perfect this technology, I think there's a second plan. I actually am not super comfortable talking about this stuff because I don't like to give opinions on things, and hypothesize. So I'd rather just stick to the data, if that's okay. Yeah. So if you take a look at chemical and engineering news, there's these non-peer-reviewed journals. We call them rags in the industry. Every industry has it. And it's basically, the whales of the industry, the who's who, and they just kind of brag about what they're doing. So this article talks about the pegylated lipid nanoparticles that are in all the COVID-19 vaccines. And there's 4 lipids, and I'll go over this. So the first lipid is cholesterol. And that's our body loves cholesterol. It makes it go through the blood. Then there's a phospholipid. The phospholipid adheres to the cell membrane, so that allows permeability to enter the cell membrane. There's an ionizable lipid, so that gives it a positive ionic charge to help penetrate the mRNA to get into the cell. And then there's the pegylated lipid. And so the reason why they created these is because mRNA is very unstable, whether it's synthetic or zoonic, which means it's from an animal, or human. It's very unstable. 80-degree weather kills it. Sunlight kills it. If you breathe on it, it dies. I mean, and the researchers all say this. It rarely gets past the nasopharynx area of any healthy individual. It's just, your saliva kills it. It cannot survive on its own. So it needed this kind of biosphere that they created for it. And that's why we have these four lipids, and then they put the graphene oxide. Now, what's interesting about the graphene oxide is that it's 4,000 times stronger than titanium and can withstand 1700 degree Fahrenheit temperature. So we took this very unstable virus, single helix virus, and we made it indestructible, they made it indestructible. So the pegylated lipids, if you take a look, it's PEG. They're made by a company called Sinopeg, which is SNO, PEG, and they're located in China. Now, how did I find this out? Well, if you take a look at the Pfizer EUA filing, they list the 4 lipids. They have 2 lipids, each of which have 4 lipids in them in there. And so does Moderna. And Moderna's is called a material safety data sheet. This is what they use in industrial products. And it has a CAS number, and theirs is SM102 for Moderna. And then if you go to Pfizer's filing with the UK, the 2 lipids that are in there are called ALC0315 and ALC0159. So when I Googled MSDS CAS, don't ask how I know all this information, and I put in some of those numbers, I found Sinopeg. I didn't find Sinopeg by Googling Sinopeg. I literally put in the MSDS number. And so if you go to the website, you'll see the, extremely long, 100 alphanumeric name of each of these lipids. And you'll see it under a tab called COVID-19 excipients. And it says polyethylene glycol PEG 2000, right? And then here you'll see it's ALC0159, and this company is located in China. And then if you pull from the patent, from the Moderna patent, they list out all the different polyethylene glycol 200, PEG 200, PEG 2000, and you will find those listed under the COVID-19 excipients in Sinopeg. So it's right there. It's being manufactured in China. And so there's other vaccines that are mRNA vaccines that are not being sold in the United States. You can find those excipients here too by the CAS number, the Material Safety Data Sheet CAS number. And so if you want to know what is graphene, what they explain here on Sinopeg is it is the core shell structured polyethylene glycol functionalized graphene for energy storage polymer dielectrics, combined mechanical and dielectric performances. So what that means is that graphene is a conductor. It can be a conductor of electricity. If it has a positive charge, and this is in some of the studies from the NIH and Moderna and stuff, if graphene gets a positive charge, it annihilates anything it comes in contact with. Right now, they're not charged, they're neutralized. You're like, well, how does it have a positive charge to get into the cell? That's that other lipid, that ionizable lipid that gives it the positive charge for cell penetration. But these currently are not, they're neutral. They have a neutral field. But if there is an electromagnetic field that activates a positive charge, potentially there will be damage and potentially death depending on where these nanoparticles ended up in people's bodies and how much of them did.
So it's apparent to me that they're lying to the world. They're trying to hide this. This is the secret ingredient. Lead stories, USA Today, all these other publications fact-checking this program. It appears to me that they are out and out lying. We're going to get to who's in on all of this in a minute because I'm going to ask you, but why are they using this graphene oxide? It's a toxic substance. It's poisonous. Why are they using it?
Because it's a great conductor of electricity, and it can host a magnetic field. So it can literally, it can connect you to the internet. That's why.
All right. I just wanted to make sure that I was clear on that, because I know that you're not comfortable opining opinions, things like that. I just want to make sure factually that that's what it can do. That's what it's capable of doing.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I haven't had the chance, but I could probably go into some tech publications and AI publications, and we can find more information on how graphene oxide is a great.
Well, the bottom line is it's poisonous. It's poisonous. It annihilates. If it has a positive charge, it annihilates anything that it comes into contact with. It's toxic for humans. It should not be in there, and it is. That is what I needed to know. Who's behind this? That's what I'd like to know. Who's behind all of this?
Well, I don't. So, if hold on. This I didn't put this in here, but there's a company called Shanghai Nanotech, and they filed a patent, and you can for graphene oxide for the use in COVID-19 excipients. This is a meeting of them at their headquarters, and that looks like, I think his name's Tal Zaks, the chief technology officer for Moderna. Mm-hmm. Then if you go to the World Health Organization website, there is a page where they talk about how the global world needs to work together on these COVID-19 vaccines. It's from sometime last year, and you'll see the usual suspects there. You'll see like Peter Daszak and the names from Moderna, and several names from the NIH and NIAID. So there is a large group of billionaires and millionaires many times over that have coordinated for the development and execution of these products.
So you knowing this, you bringing this confirmation, why would I guess, I mean, this is opinion, so you just tell me if you're not comfortable answering this, but I got to ask, why would people like President Trump, Ron DeSantis, Sean Hannity, what do they have in what stake in the game do they have? How do they not know this stuff? They have, I mean,
there's no way they could know this stuff. I want to be, when I read this information, I didn't know, a woman could cry as hard as I cried. So I sent an email out on May 26th to about 30 outlets with this information. I sent an email summarizing it. These are bioweapons. I even spoke to, and I don't mean to be disparaging to anybody, I even spoke to American frontline doctors and stuff. And after I spoke to them, some of the doctors still went on saying, well, as long as you're, if you're under 30, you shouldn't get the vaccines. And I called them up. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? These are bioweapons. They're like, we can't say that. So the cognitive dissonance of the depravity and the evil of these injections is very difficult for anyone to understand. And you have to also understand that for the whole year and a half these were being developed, anyone that came out and said, hey, this virus isn't that bad, they were mocked, they were ridiculed, they were ostracized, doctors were threatened to have their license taken away. So the truth couldn't get out there. And then when anyone that was questioning about the speed of bringing these vaccines to market, the need for them, even the FDA documents, they talk about, hey, we don't think someone under 18 should get these things. We're worried about viral shedding. Here, if you show this slide here, the manufacturing section of the application is redacted. Right? No one in good conscience should have approved this, but there was such brainwashing going on, such control of what basically the big tech wanted us to know as the truth, which was a bunch of lies, that it's very difficult then for when someone says to you, this is what's going on, to believe it. I would compare it to anyone that's been in a marriage where they had a spouse that was cheating on them. Your friends can tell you they're cheating. There's tons of evidence, but you are not going to believe it. You're not going to believe all your trusted advisors have been telling you this stuff is safe. Everything on the media says it's safe. And then someone says, no, it's actually lethal. And this is a planned genocide. It's impossible to believe.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And, I'm having a hard time. I mean, honestly, I'm a human, and so just knowing people that have subjected themselves to this inoculation, knowing how difficult it is to have a conversation with somebody, doing what I do, downloading to my brain terabytes of information every single day, trying to determine what's real, what's not, what's missing, what's disinformation, who's deep state, who's trying to throw me off, who's controlled opposition. It happens. It sounds like some kind of a sci-fi movie, but you're living in it, so you understand. I'm just trying to process all this as you're saying it. And I'm imagining, people in the media, I'm imagining, the people that they don't understand that there are billions of lives at stake, or maybe they do, which makes it even worse because they're complicit in this. They're part of this, the carrying on of this. And then I think about everybody who's going to be mandated these shots. Listen, Karen, I got an email this morning. I got an email this morning from a very concerned mother of a young woman who is going to be attending a Christian college in South Carolina. And they're going to mandate this thing for her. 18-year-old young woman with her entire life ahead of her. And she's just one of millions of stories like this that are happening here in this country, what we're doing to our young people, poisoning them. And so then you've got healthcare workers. I mean, I have a dozen emails in the last 48 hours from nurses, healthcare workers, doctors, people who are working at these facilities, in these clinics, at these hospitals that are going to be mandated this. They don't want to do it. They need help. And, the DOJ is telling everybody that they can do this, that governors can mandate this, that businesses can mandate this. And so.
Well, the DOJ, just because someone says something, and especially this current administration, doesn't make it true. Okay. The DOJ can say, we recommend this is mandated. We're saying that we mandate these vaccines, but it's a memo. I read the memo. Okay. It's a memo that was written by Dawn Johnson. She's the acting assistant attorney general to the president, saying that, under Title Code 21, Section 564, you can private companies and local governments can mandate the vaccines under emergency use authorization. Her interpretation is reckless and it has no merit. So it's just an opinion. It is not enforceable, period. And on top of that, what's happened with these vaccines or these injections, these EU injections, not only is all the campaign and the propaganda a bunch of lies to terrify people into getting injected, which is a violation of human rights in and of itself. On top of that, she doesn't mention Title Code 21 in her memo, which is what this falls under, because they violated 4 other sections of that title code under drug safety, drug and vaccine safety. They have under Section 502, it's false and misleading labeling, because this thing is not a vaccine. There is no benefit to your health when you get injected. The only thing it can do is poison, harm, and kill. So there's false and misleading labeling. It doesn't tell you that it contains graphene oxide. Adulterated drugs and devices, it also violates Section 5001, which again, adulterated drugs and devices is if it includes a toxin, which is the graphene oxide. It also violates Section 312.23 under initial new drug application. So if you go through an IND, you have to prove safety in animals before you move on to humans. They signed a letter of intent for pregnant rats. If that doesn't make you furious, and we're injecting pregnant women, and under the IND, it says if there is shedding, if there is a risk to people of childbearing age, then you need to stop the trial. We know there is shedding. We know there is risk to childbearing age. And the FDA even talks about it in their protein therapy and oncolytic virus treatments, that shedding is a real thing. And you need to do animal studies first. Then you need to do phase 1 human studies. And if there is if there is shedding, then you need to come up with control measures so that you don't infect the uninjected, which is what's going on right now. They also violated Section 31242, which is clinical research holds and requests for modifications. So that says if any of these things I said, and there's at least 3 dozen, you need to stop the trials.
Trials have been stopped when 25 people die, when 6 beagle dogs die.
They were supposed to stop the trials when they did the mice study, and all the mice, 80% died in 24 hours, and the rest died by the end of the week.
But there is no threshold here, is there?
I mean, they should have stopped the trials at the.
That's the bottom line. There is no threshold, is there? There is no threshold. It doesn't matter how many people die. They will continue this incessant push, won't they?
Until American people speak up and say enough is enough, stop it, they will keep pushing us until, they basically wipe out America.
Wow.
And they're going after the children, which is what's so disheartening. There will be no posterity. There will be no America. If people of childbearing age become infertile, and then children are at most risk for having serious adverse events and death from these injections. I mean, just look at the myocarditis numbers.
And the numbers
there
are
1 in 25,000 reported. We know that's at least 10%, which would be 1 in 2,500, and it's probably more like 1 in 250, which would be 4% of children are getting having decades taken off their life or dying.
I am up against a hard break, and I have to go. Will you come back on this program? Because we are dedicated to the truth. You are a wealth of information, and I've got so many more questions that I would like to continue this conversation with you. Will you promise to come back? I mean, are you comfortable with doing that?
Oh, yeah. No, I'd love to be on. If I'm not comfortable answering a question, I'll just say I'm not comfortable answering a question. Yeah. I'm okay with saying that.
Yeah, because I mean, I have so many more, and I know that there's going to be a pouring out of questions on my social media and my DMs and my Proton Mail. Please ask her this. And so I just want to reserve the future opportunity to have the conversation with you.
Absolutely. And I sent you a lot of the documents from the FDA website and the patent office.
We're going to post all of those at stewpeters.tv. Karen,
put it all up there.
Thank you so much.
I drafted letters to healthcare associations, and I've just been so busy. But obviously, after talking to you, I will finish those letters today so that people can send them to their employer. They can send them to their school. They can, send them to healthcare providers saying that, I have the right to informed consent. I'm not saying it's going to stop them from getting fired, but what will happen is eventually justice will prevail, and our Constitution always prevails. And you will have evidence that they can't plausibly deny that they didn't know this information.
I believe that to be 100% true, and I appreciate your optimism, because that is what I'm trying to hold on to here as well. Unbelievable. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. The Stu Peters Show continues in just 60 seconds. Go nowhere.